Sylvie Paula Paula is SNK's newest NESTS member, who first appeared in KOF 14, and she's actually a remnant. However, I am a huge NESTS fan, having characters like K99, Nameless, and Kusanagi in my top 5 KOF characters, with K49 at number 1, Nameless at number 2, and Kusanagi at number 5. Now, I understand that Kusanagi is canonically not a part of NESTS, given that in the canonical lore, he was a clone made by Chizuru when she was under the control of Mukai and Botan, but he still feels more like a Kusanagi clone made by NESTS, given that's how he was originally deuced in KOF 2002, and was on a team with the NESTS clones of Kyo-1 and Kyo-2 in KOF 2002 Ultimate Match. Anyways, that's not the point here. The point here is that I, a huge NESTS fan and a new KOF fan, do not like Sylvie Paula Paula, and would even argue to hate her. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down everything I don't like about Sylvie Paula Paula, and some things I do like about her, whilst also comparing her to Nameless. Why? Because if Nameless can be as niche as possible with the most minor appearance ever, yet still be a better character than Sylvie here, then why shouldn't I compare? Now, if I hear whining saying, "But Nameless is a classic KOF character," that's not fair. First off, Nameless is as old as I am, and I am not that old. 2, Sylvie Paula Paula only first appeared 7 years after Nameless, and gets way more attention than Nameless. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
You take the battle and it's over, and that I've lost my composure, cause I'm staring into space. And now my heart's beating fast, like a main start on a new chapter. I'll soon reveal the beast. There's a beast in my soul, and it wants to evolve. Can't be pushing me so I can end it. Now the words leave your tongue, where your death power comes from. It's saying to do that with that you condemn to.
If there is one thing I will never like in a character, it's any character with a lack of origin. Sylvie Paula Paula does have an origin, but here's the problem. It's bland. I say this because Sylvie Paula Paula is a side character like Nameless, but with Nameless, we get the most detailed origin story and how he came to be. With Sylvie Paula Paula, however, her origin story is quite literally the worst origin story I've ever seen in a KOF character. First off, we don't know if she's a clone, an android, a combination of both, or a real person. All we know is that Angel bullied her, and she's got electromagnetic powers. By the way, I say bully in a hyperbolic way, because apparently she was so scared of Angel, she was just scared of looking at her, which is stupid, because how is Angel intimidating when she's barely wearing any clothes? Now, I understand that it's possible that Angel did bully Sylvie, and I wouldn't be surprised, but apparently Angel's presence was so terrifying, Sylvie received emotional trauma from it. That has to be the stupidest thing I have ever heard. That just sounds like a poor excuse for SNK to establish a rivalry between the two. When NESTS fell, she decided to hide away just like K49 and Angel did. However, it's her motivation that really sets me the heck off. This woman saw an Athena Asamiya concert and was motivated to come out of hiding just so she can become an idol. That motivation is so stupid. That's like if I was like, oh, I really want to be a YouTuber, but I feel too insecure, and saw a Taylor Swift concert and immediately started uploading. Obviously, I'm not comparing apples to apples here, since coming out of hiding after your evil organization fell isn't the same as me creating my YouTube channel, so I'll use Nameless again. What was his motivation as a character? His girlfriend, who was the only person who loved him. He wanted Ignis to revive her because she had died. Look, call that motive stupid all you want, but that's better than Sylvie watching the Taylor Swift of KOF and going to a fighting tournament to become a pop idol because she became motivated by Athena. Now, another thing I have here is, why does she need to become an idol? Because we already have Athena and Shermie. Why do we need a third idol? Like, I understand that idols are all the rage now, given K-pop stans exist, but if you're going to please them, then push Athena and Shermie more, rather than just making a whole new character that feels like she's for $10 too, than actually giving your other characters love. Seriously, I just don't like her goal of becoming a pop idol, because we already have 2 idols in the series. If you want to please the K-pop stans, or just people who enjoy idol content in general, start putting more attention on Athena and Shermie. Maybe even bring back Mei Lee, since she's Korean. And while not an official idol, she's pretty idol-like with her Ginyu Force poses. No, instead you make Sylvie just so you can make $10 too. Another thing I want to mention is her treatment plot-wise with the Akari team. We never see the Akari team go after her despite her being a former NESTS agent, but we see them go after Cronin and Angel, which makes absolutely no sense, because what did Sylvie do to be out in public singing without getting tackled by Liana or Hydern? Absolutely nothing. So wait, my boy Cronin and his girl Angel have to be chased, but the wrestling and singing idol can't, because God knows why? First off, you can argue that Cronin is more of a threat all you want, but there is no way Sylvie isn't as much of a threat with her electromagnetic powers. Like, you expect me to look at this and say, oh yeah, the Akari team totally has every right not to tackle her. First off, why is it that Cronin, someone who is actively shown to want to be left alone and won't kill anyone, still getting chased by the military and the Akari team, but not Sylvie over here? Why? Heck, she's scarier to me than Cronin is. I'd rather get shot up, drilled, burned, and slammed up by Cronin than approach this Annabelle-looking creep. Seriously, why is she so creepy? Ugh, get her away from me. Anyways, my point is that her origin story sucks total garbage, while my GOAT Nameless is sitting here having not appeared in a mainline game in 1.5 decades with absolutely barely any attention on him, while she's being pushed harder than I push K9999 glazing content. Look, I'm not the kind of guy that dogs on character designs. While I respectfully criticize them, like with Nameless and K99, sometimes I draw a line, and Sylvie crosses that line because she creeps me out and reminds me of Annabelle. Her KOF 14 design especially creeps me out, and it increases in creepiness even more when she crosses her eyes. Then you have the giant eyeballs in her hair, and it's like, ugh, get away from me. Like, if I saw Sylvie in real life, I'd either freeze up or I'd run screaming like Kevin McAllister.
I'm not afraid anymore!
I especially hate the eyeballs on her shoe. Like, what is your obsession with eyeballs, woman? I don't even care if they're looking at me. They just creep me out. Thank God she's only 5'3", because if she were my height or taller, I'd be terrified. Now, as for the non-creepy parts of her, what I will say is I do not like her color scheme in KOF 14. I absolutely hate it with every fiber of my being. I understand it's supposed to be wacky, but the colors are so out of place it doesn't even look wacky. It just annoys me. Listen, I'm not a fashion expert, but I know a good color scheme, and this is not one of them. You can have a wacky color scheme without looking like an acid-induced mess. I took a look at her original design that was scrapped, and here's my question. Why was that design scrapped, but this absolute mess of a design wasn't? Her original design and appearance genuinely look cutesy, and I like it way more than the mess that is her actual design. The color scheme is wacky, but the colors don't agitate me. She wears a pink dress with a blue collar, red ribbon, and rainbow stockings with red shoes. But it actually fits. It doesn't look like a mess, it looks cutesy, and I genuinely like it. Plus, her hair looks so much better too. She's got normal sized ponytails, and not those giant ponytails the size of my 3-year-old sister. In fact, her face doesn't even look creepy like her actual design. She genuinely looks cute. If they had used this design instead of that god-awful monstrosity, I would redeem her a little. But no, they scrapped her genuinely good design for this trash. Moving on, and we have her KOF 15 design. And it is a little better. The eyeballs are smaller, but they're still creepy, and there's still 4 of them on her outfit. I do like her vibe. She gives me this twinkle twinkle little star vibe, and I don't know how else to describe it. I like her dress is black, and she's got these little glowing stars all over her outfit, which is cute, and I kind of like it. I also liked how they reduced the size of her ponytails, and while they are still big, just like Ken Jeong in that one meme, I'll allow it. Not to mention, the color scheme of her outfit actually makes sense, but unfortunately it's not wacky. It's just a basic color scheme of black, purple, and blue. The outfit itself is wacky, but the color scheme is pretty basic and feels more emo than wacky. However, my biggest problem with this design is her hair color. And it's nothing majorly bad. It's just her hair being dead blonde with turquoise highlights doesn't really fit her color scheme. But I'm glad they at least tried to make it fit instead of keeping her blonde hair from KOF 14, which would definitely feel out of place. I do have a problem with her stockings, which is that I'm not a fan that she's wearing one stocking with black and yellow diamonds and the other with just white and black stripes. It's nothing major. I'm not upset over it. It just bugs me because I'm a guy who prefers symmetrical designs over asymmetrical ones. However, SNK tried here, and I'll give them credit for that. So, good job, SNK. I'm still mad about her scrap design, though, so you get docked points for that, SNK. So, if I were Sylvie's character designer and writer, I'd keep her scrapped design rather than what they used. I feel like that design fits her character way more than what we got in both KOF 14 and 15. It's wacky, but it's cutesy and not at all creepy, which I feel would fit her as a character more. Next up, I'd go into much more detail with her backstory, like confirming whether she's a clone, android, both, or a regular person. I'd also change who she fears from Angel to K49, because I feel like K49 is a much more intimidating person, especially with his mental instability, psychotic smiles, and set of abilities. Angel isn't all that intimidating, and given K49 is built like a truck, I feel like it'd make a lot more sense since he's got biceps that could pierce through diamonds and is stupidly agile. Not to mention, it would benefit both characters because having Sylvie associated with KOF's most controversial character would likely boost her popularity whilst also giving K49 as Cronin more attention as well. Not to mention, her abilities seem much more suited for Cronin than they are for Angel, because Angel is only an enhanced human. She doesn't have any extraordinary abilities like Sylvie does. Cronin has special abilities, and it would be more interesting to see pyrokinesis versus electromagnetism over electromagnetism versus enhanced athleticism. As for her motivation to why she leaves hiding, I'd make it more slow-paced than just she sees Athena sing and immediately comes out of her shell. I'd have her start a social media channel, and when it starts gaining traction and praise, that's when she comes out of hiding. In other words, her motive would be to make her fans proud of her rather than just seeing Athena's concert and deciding to come out. I'd also have her be approached by the Akari team and they'd have interest in her rather than just disregarding her to chase Cronin. However, to keep it so that the Akari team doesn't chase her like in the actual story, she actively hides her past, which would make a lot of sense. I'd also change her role in NESTS from agent to failed experiment that was kept under wraps by Ignis. So that way, it would make a lot more sense that only she would know about her own association with NESTS. Overall, Sylvie Paula Paula had the potential to be a good character given she's a NESTS character, but SNK wasted that potential. Hopefully, with KOF 16 and the KOF 15 manga, we'll get more lore on her, and maybe even get some qualities that redeem her. Because I'm keeping an open mind about Sylvie Paula Paula, because I feel like with enough time, I could get used to her, like warm up to her. But other than that, she still sucks. Anyways, that's all for now, and this is SJ Raikou signing off. Peace! That Cronin guy? What do you mean, that Cronin guy? How can you not recognize K49 when he quite literally terrorized the KOF 2001 tournament? You know what? I think you're a liar. You're not a NESTS agent at all, Sylvie. NESTS didn't even bother keeping K49 under wraps, so how do you not know who K49 is? What? Honestly, she's probably lying for attention. That's what it is. She probably doesn't even know who the name of the NESTS leader is. She probably doesn't even know who Chrysalid is. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me check her wiki just to see if Cronin is familiar to her. Are you kidding me? So she knows who K49 is, yet she's scared of Angel? Get out of here with that bullcrap. She's a poser, a faker. God, this is why I hate Sylvie Paula Paula so much. I'm telling you, can't have anything nice anymore. Got posers everywhere.